Get this to calm down. You know, you get everything set, you test it, and then it doesn't work. Oh, but hello, Star Wars fans. It's so good to see you all here today. Spend some time together talking about Star Wars. And there's just 226 days until Christmas 2022 and just 14 days until Kenobi. And I've got my friend Meg here with us. Star Wars Meg, how are you doing at this lovely Friday?
Ready toot toot. I'm okay. How are you, Santa?
I am pretty good. It is absolutely beautiful here today. We've got some fantastic weather and just hard to be inside looking out at the beautiful sun and blue sky and all of that, and looking forward to the weekend. Weekend plans for yourself?
Good question. It's a very good question. I think I'm just going to be making videos.
Just making videos? This is great. This was from your super chat yesterday, Dominic. This was just
this
so
is
funny.
the super chat I sent you.
Yes, it is. It was hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. Good to see you guys. She wants to know, are you guys going to stream tomorrow? I think
Oh,
that's what
yes.
he's asking. Yeah?
I think so. What day are we tomorrow?
It's Saturday, the 14th.
Yeah, I think I can do tomorrow. I feel like something's happening tomorrow.
Something's happening today. I don't know. It's Friday the 13th. So just making videos, doing the Star Wars Meg stuff this weekend, huh?
Exactly.
Well,
Unless I can remember what it is I have to do tomorrow.
Unless there's something else. I've got some fun planned for tomorrow. It's this right here. I'll share it with everybody. There's a big international meeting of Santa Clauses here in Northeast Ohio tomorrow. It's all day, and it's at this place, Castle Noel. It's in Northeast Ohio. We've got Santa Clauses coming in from Canada, from different states around the country, and we're going to be gathering at Castle Noel in Medina, Ohio. There's going to be a parade. There's going to be fun. There's going to be pictures, storytelling, all kinds of fun stuff.
It's Santa Pride 2022.
It's a pride of Santas. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. We're looking forward to it, and it's like I said, it's going to be an all-day kind of thing, and lots of Santas, Mrs. Clauses, folks from all over the place coming in, and looking forward to that.
SantaCon. It's more like a Santa Fest. It's the only time of year Santa gets to rock out with his cock out.
Meg, we do have a lot of fun, but I don't know about all that.
Sorry, it was a typo.
A typo. Roland, hey, happy Friday! Thanks for making my day. Well, you're very welcome. I have a lot of fun hanging out with my friends and talking about Star Wars. And something came up this week, and I thought, here's a good question to ask Meg. Does making Star Wars content, is that something fun for you? Is it something you enjoy doing, or is it too much like a job? Is it just work?
That is a very good question. I do love Star Wars, so I will say that to preface it. It really depends what I'm speaking about. I often find certain topics a lot more fun than others.
Sure.
And I don't know, I kind of feel like certain subjects I stay away from these days.
Sure.
Just because I know the kind of people and comments that I'll get for it. So, but I like to see it as a hobby, even though it is my income. I do love what I do. I wouldn't want to do anything else, and it's a privilege to be able to talk about Star Wars every day. So
that's great. That's great. You know, I can see where you're coming from. As someone who I had a passion for music, playing trombone was something that gave me a lot of enjoyment as a kid, as a teenager, as a young adult, and became a professional musician. And it became a job, and it kind of sapped the joy out of it for me. It became work. It took away time from things I wanted to do, and I just really haven't had that same passion since. And like you, I love talking about Star Wars. I think this is a privilege, getting to know such wonderful people, getting to meet you, getting to meet Sheev and X-Wing and our friend Jason Ward. All of you guys are fantastic. Martin, even Martin, is a great guy to get to know. So I just have a great time getting to know you guys, hanging out, and for me, this is a nice break from the day, right?
I just saw Matt Rissman's comment. But yeah, no, I love doing this. I wouldn't want to do anything else. Star Wars is everything.
I heard you chuckle, so I looked down and then I saw it too.
Well, according to Matt, you've lost your passion to bone.
I saw that. I
was going to come on the stream with a very inappropriate joke, but I don't think I should say it.
Probably not. Probably not. Dominic, just too much of a shill. I don't know. I do love Star Wars, and I've enjoyed this Disney era quite a bit. So maybe that does make me too much of a shill. I don't know. I just know I'm having fun, right? So for me, it's not an act. It's not putting on something. It's something that I just really have a good time doing. What did I see? I saw something up here. Oh, Erie, Pennsylvania. Yeah, we took our vacation up to Erie, Pennsylvania just a couple years ago. That's a great place to vacation, actually. First time we spent some time there, and that's fantastic, Mike. Yeah, and Medina is not far at all. You guys, there's plenty of public activities going on that day. It's not just Santa stuff.
It sounds like your trip to Pennsylvania was rather eerie.
Oh, but done. Very good. Very good. Very good.
I'll tell the joke at the end.
Okay, there you go. Something to hang on for at the end. Will Morgan.
Honey, you should use that wording.
What? Oh, no. Hey, there are some other things to talk about, and I just started reading Brotherhood. Are you reading that book?
I haven't started reading it, but I've got it. And I know Star Wars Explained really enjoyed it.
I saw his review. Yeah, I saw his review too. It looked really good. I am 7 chapters into it, and so far enjoying it quite a bit. I will say that there's a good bit. You know how we talk about in a lot of the Disney Plus shows, a good bit of fan service. There's a good bit of fan service in this book. But so far it's been good. It's been good fan service. I've enjoyed it. It ties in really well to the Queen's novels as well. So Queen's Gambit and Queen's Hope kind of interact with this one. That you can see where the events in both books overlap, and they did a really good job of tying that together and not making them conflict with one another. There's a good bit of collaboration going on to make sure that as they're writing this, it's not causing a problem with the other, you know? So this was, I enjoyed. I just read Queen's Hope, finished it Sunday, and then started this one. And I could pick up on that right away. So, yeah, the first time they get to meet Asajj Ventress, and it's going to be it's something I'll be able to read the next couple weeks. And I pulled this quote. I just read chapter 7, and there's this quote in here that I think is quite pertinent to the world we live in. Yeah. Well, this is a quote from Obi-Wan Kenobi. He says, "Remaining neutral in the face of extremism is, in fact, enabling terrorism." It's in the context of, Cato Nemoidia, that thing back on Cato Nemoidia from the prequels, right? When Obi-Wan and Anakin are kind of chatting, right? We're going to explore that, but there's an event that happens on Cato Nemoidia, and Obi-Wan's trying to make an impassioned plea to go there and take care of things as it goes with that. But this comment, remaining neutral in the face of extremism is in fact enabling terrorism, is something that I think we have to deal with. We talk about how sometimes real world politics works its way into Star Wars. That's true with the original trilogy, the prequel trilogy, And I think here as well that this is in fact something that overlaps really well into real world kind of things. And how do you stay like a thought that I had as I was reading it? Oftentimes, what happens with extremism, it's met with opposite extremism. So that's how wars are broke out. That's how people end up taking these really extreme positions on all kinds of topics. It's something that comes into play in the fandom. It's something that we see in the world we live in. And as we're reading this book, Brotherhood, it got me thinking about it. How do you maintain a place of centrism but not be neutral, right? You got to pick sides, sort of, but your side might be doing stuff from the extremist position that you don't agree with as well.
I was going to say this quote could be applied to literally any perspective, which is why I replied to you on Discord saying Kenobi is based, but I don't think we have the same view of what he means. I think I'm on the opposite side to you,
Well,
at least
that might
politically
be-
speaking.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. I think that's the case. And what we often are kind of put in an awkward position on is when your side has extremists that you may not agree with their tactics or what their position on things, but you agree on the opposition to the other thing, be that war or
Oh yeah, for sure.
political something or religious something, anything like that. And so what I have found is, as a conservative, right-leaning kind of person, is that there are folks on my side that are doing things that make it hard.
Disgusting.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good way to put it, right? And I see on the left, progressive side, things that just like common sense don't seem to make sense to me. When I see what they're doing, I'm like, you're hurting your cause, not actually helping it.
Could you care to give an example
No,
of where you think leftists do that?
I'm
I'd
not
love to
gonna.
defend them.
I'm not gonna. Well, but boy, oh boy, I'm trying not to get myself in too much trouble.
Yeah, YouTube doesn't like these kind of conversations.
It doesn't. It doesn't. But there are. Let's take protesting, right? Let's take protesting. Something happens that you don't like. And here we had several riots take place out of that kind of sprung out of protests. So something happened that people saw injustice, or they see opposes their fundamental beliefs, and so they go out to protest it. That's a great thing to do. But then the protests take a form of violence where they're destroying property, they're injuring, maiming people, and in some cases even killing people. People die as a result of their protest actions. To me, that's an extremism from the left that we've seen because they're so angered.
I think
by
both sides are
something.
very guilty of generalizing people.
Yeah.
Because I don't even think all left-wing people or left-leaning people agree with that.
Right.
Just like you as a conservative don't agree with every single thing
Right.
Republicans do.
Exactly. So that's I had to be careful about the example I gave, but that happens, and when I see it happen, I can be somewhat compassionate to their protest. Right. So they're opposed to this. We want to have some dialogue about it. We want to have a conversation about it. And they come out and they do something. Yeah. Kendall brings up a thing for the January 6th riots that happened with the right. So there were people who stormed the Capitol building in the United States. They broke stuff. Right. People died. And that was because of some extremists and the actions they took. The vast majority of people there didn't do that. Same thing happens with the left, right? They're out protesting something, and then there's a group of them who are extremists that take it too far. So that's I think that fits both sides, what we're saying, and to be maybe a moderate isn't the same thing as this quote that Kenobi says here, right? So Kenobi says remaining neutral. Remaining neutral doesn't mean isn't the same as being moderate. I think a lot of people think that it is.
I mean, I don't really want to comment on this kind of thing, but I would say moderates are part of the problem. But that's just, again, my view on things.
Well, I think there are people that agree with that from both sides. I've found as I've gotten older, like I was very active, and I marched and did things, and I went to conventions and did stuff like that politically when I was younger, part of college Republicans and things like that. That as I've gotten older, I feel like is not the best use of my time or energy. Right? I would much rather make friends, have civil conversations and discussions, dialogue, and try to win hearts and minds through reasoned conversation than protest. But that's me.
I feel like we should get back to Star Wars.
We are. We're going to make that transition right now. So
before we get too deep in this kind of.
Exactly. Look, there was an announcement. Ahsoka filming has begun. And there was a couple of things in this that I thought were worth discussing. One is, it says, the upcoming, this is on StarWars.com, the upcoming Disney Plus original series begins production, right? Contrast that to the Kenobi news here, the biggest look yet at the limited series starting. So Kenobi is rightfully labeled a limited series. Ahsoka is listed as an original series. You think we can read into that anything, or is it...
I think so. They word these things very deliberately.
Yeah. So what's your take?
My take is that we are going to get a season 2. And I don't even think we're going to see Ezra for like the first season and a half.
Yeah.
Which is why we've probably, there's been all this back and forth of who's going to be playing him.
Yes. And
I feel like they're going to do the search and come across some people, meet some new allies, and maybe come across the Martez sisters, everyone's favorite sibling ship.
I want to highlight this comment so I don't lose it. Yeah, I think I'm with you on the Ahsoka series, season 1, primarily being the search for Ezra Bridger. I think that the bulk of it is just going to be a search, and some of the things that happened during the search. Think of it similar to Mando, where you had week-to-week kind of things that happened, and there was an overall getting Grogu to his people, right? So that took 2 seasons to work out, and we might see the same sort of thing with Ahsoka, where the overall quest is to find Ezra Bridger. But along the way, things happen. And we might not see Ezra Bridger until, I think I heard somebody say, similar to like a Force Awakens with Luke at the very, very end, right? So we might not get Ezra until the very, very end of season 1, or we might not even get like that post-credit scene from Rebels until close to the end of the season.
Possibly.
That'd be my take.
I just hope if they do the Luke approach, they don't have Ezra throw his lightsaber and say, "Go away." It's time for the Jedi to end. And then Thrawn is just knitting in the corner.
I thought we were done talking about the controversial stuff. Just kidding. I suspect they may find out that Ezra and Thrawn are not the mortal enemies that they presume them to be when they find them. That's been my take all along, is that during this 10-year...
Bigger galactic threats.
Well, during a 10-year period of time where you've been missing, and presumably the Purgle took them somewhere, and they've been at that place for 10 years, explaining why they haven't come back. Right? Somebody found them, or they got on a side mission together that prevented Ezra from coming right back because he got involved in another mission, say helping Thrawn and the Chiss fight back some invasion from perhaps the Grisk or the Yuzan Vong or something like that.
I guess my issue is when they had Ezra and Thrawn be taken by the Purgle,
Yeah.
it's like they kind of closed the book on what you can do with Ezra, because I really don't see how he plays into anything going forward.
How do you mean?
If they find him, and there is this galactic threat, all I'm saying is, I know it's a big galaxy, but how do you connect that to the sequels where we hear him speak to Rey?
Well, there are always presumptions about that, isn't there? One of the presumptions is that every voice she heard was dead. And I don't think that's necessarily the case.
I wish they hadn't done that in The Rise of Skywalker so that they can keep that chapter open and just have Ezra just grow to old age and... I don't know.
Perhaps he is in his old age. Perhaps he's not dead. So I'm just saying.
I'm pretty sure Ezra does speak to Rey. Seth says he doesn't.
Well,
Pretty sure
even
he's
if he
one of the voices.
even if he is a voice and is speaking to her, doesn't mean he's dead.
I guess.
Yeah.
More flaws with that film.
Well, since the whole discussion about Ahsoka, I've been challenging that base assumption that all the voices she heard were Jedi who have passed.
I stand corrected. It was only Kanan, not Ezra. Okay.
Okay.
I'm happy again.
There you go. Yadi asks, what is the Ahsoka show going to be about? She was hoping for an origin story, but that's not going to happen.
No, it's going to be Ahsoka and Sabine searching the galaxy for Thrawn and Ezra. We've already seen some of the concept art from Dave on his Twitter account.
Yes. Yeah. There might be some origins mixed in here or there in like flashback scenes, but I expect it to be a search for Ezra. They'll have to establish for a lot of folks who is Ezra. we heard in Mandalorian, Ahsoka saying, "Where's your boss? Where's Grand Admiral Thrawn?" Right? And in that, then a lot of folks are like, "That's the first time I've ever heard Grand Admiral Thrawn." They don't know, right? Morgan Elsbeth works for Grand Admiral Thrawn. Great. We don't know who this guy is. So you have to establish to some degree for folks who haven't followed along in Rebels who Ezra is for the first place, and then who Thrawn is. Like, we don't know. And where are they? How did they get there? Why are we looking?
They can do like a breaking of the fourth wall in the Ahsoka show where Ahsoka and Sabine speak about Thrawn and their memories of him. He was the prick who stole Hera's important family tree thing.
True. Yeah. Let's see. We got a couple super chats here. I want to go back to Keeman Thomas. Reva outrage is a good distraction for Leia. What's OWK?
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Okay.
He was a pupil of mine until he turned to evil.
Gotcha. The Reva outrage. Yeah, let's let that. I think the Reva outrage right now is serving a different purpose than actually Star Wars content itself. I think it's being used by some people as leverage to bring up a different thing, which is
I feel so bad for Moses Ingram. She deserves better than to be used as like this tool for those people who are making these videos pretending it's going to be a masturbate and switch.
Well said. I'll leave it there. Ducky, $10 super chat. Thank you, Ducky. Ezra and Grogu, both heroic kids with Ahsoka as the link between. What do you think will end up mirroring Anakin's tale? Who do you think will end up mirroring Anakin's tale? So
No idea.
yeah, I'm wondering, will they even? Or so there's some talk this week of Kevin Feige's film, and now it's not tied to anything else. Um, and I'm wondering, would he try to address the fallen hero redemption story arc in a single standalone movie? What's that going to all be about? At this point, we don't really have any clues, do we?
No.
And where else would they fit it in? Could I think? Let me deal with this just kind of individually. Ezra, I think we primarily seen his choice made. He was first of all kind of challenged by um, Saul Guerrera, and he was kind of on the path to follow Saul Guerrera until Saul went extremist, right? Back to what we were talking about earlier, right? Saul went extremist and it went too far for Ezra, and he says, "No, no, I'm out." And then later we saw where Palpatine tempts Ezra with changing things for his own benefit, right? Here you have this portal where you can save your parents. And the choice to do that would have, of course, all kinds of other implications. And Ezra, again, steps back and has to say, no, I'm not going to do that. So I think Ezra has made his choice. I know a lot of people would love to see Ezra become a like Sith type because he's going to be working with Thrawn, who a lot of people see as a evil villain, power hungry kind of mastermind. I don't see Thrawn that way, and I don't think Ezra would become a Sith. He's already made that decision, right? And I just don't see that
I agree with
happening.
you. If Ezra turns to the dark side, it's a fundamental misunderstanding of everything to do with his journey
Agreed.
so far.
Agreed.
He's been tempted, he's turned away. I mean, he almost turned to the dark side with that holocron in the mall subplot.
Yes.
And when
Yes.
he realized the ulterior motive, and I guess it took meeting Obi-Wan, I think Ezra's path was really laid out for him. And of course, that scary episode of season 4 with Palpatine in the dark hallway.
Yes. 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 So, yeah, I think Ezra's already faced his trials. He's already faced his temptation, and he's already chosen the light side, if you want to put it that way. As far as Grogu is concerned, he's obviously at a young age for his species, and he is at a point where he has chosen Din over Luke. So, what are the chances that Grogu, through some sort of tragedy with Din, his dad, would retaliate, similar to seeing Anakin seeing Shmi killed by the Tuscans? Would Grogu be turned through an act of violence against Din, where he responds negatively and gives himself to the dark side?
No, because it's not good for toy sales. You see, George Lucas cared about the story, and the toys kind of sold themselves based on that story. We meet Darth Vader first, not Anakin. And I don't think doing it the other way around would be profitable for Disney. Because bear in mind, that's the most important thing for them.
Yeah.
Think of all the uncreated Grogu socks and mugs and action figures they could make using him as like the leak state with the IG-11 as his mech. That would be so much more financially profitable for Disney than to have him, turn to the dark side. But I think Din is going to die. I think his character is literally created to eventually be killed off.
Interesting. I don't know if I agree with you on that. But let's come right back to that. I want to get caught up with the chat a little bit. First of all, thank you for the $5 super chat, Gannon. Put respect on the Calicori.
What is a Calicori?
That's that toy that Ezra stole. The one you're saying?
Oh, Hero's family tree.
Right, right, right. It's that, yeah, yeah. So he's just giving you a hard time on that. And then Yachty again said, so I guess they're going to use or treat the Ahsoka show as a Rebels follow up, most likely. Yeah, I think so.
100%.
Yeah, that's where I am on it as well. Let's see.
I'm so nervous about that, though. I'm not going to lie to you. Rebels is so special to me that if they mess up the live action version, I don't know. It's gonna really bum me out.
But yeah, I get where you're coming from because Rebels took me some time to warm up to, but when I did, I realized what fantastic content is in it. And the more I watch it, the better it gets. That is a show that is worth watching and rewatching for just the sheer amount of lore that is dropped. Like the writing of that show is so good. To see the characters that were developed through it, the worlds developed through it in live action is really important, I think, to help fans who have fallen in love with Ezra, with well, you can Sabine, with with so many, right? You go on and on and on. That entire Rebels crew, Lothal. I'm dying
Here's
to
the
see.
thing, though. Like, is it gonna look silly? Because I love The Mandalorian season 2, but there are aspects of Chapter 13, which is Ahsoka's episode, that just are almost too non-Star Warsy looking, too fan film looking, in my opinion. And it's the same problem I had with the Book of Boba Fett, where it looks like Mos Espa's one street. That's like 2 meters by 10.
I hear you. That didn't throw me out as much, but I totally get it. Like rewatching it and seeing that a battle, like and Rob over Sketchcraft Rob over on MakingStarWars.net, he gives me a hard time because leading up to the finale, I saw this like battle of five armies from Lord of the Rings building up, and then it ended up being, small, not really big armies, where it was small amounts of people kind of taking pot shots at each other. It wasn't really the scale that I thought that it deserves. So I get your point about the scale seems too small many times. But this Jedi Mike brings up here, Zeb is a concern, right? If you're going to bring Zeb into live action, can you do it well? Is it going
They
to
should
look
get
right?
the Rogue One guy. I can't remember his name. He did an
Oh,
interview recently. He would be great at bringing Zeb into live action. Some of those creatures were awesome.
well, and I go back. I keep bringing up Beast from Fantastic Four. Uh, you know, he's blue. He just and they use Kelsey Grammer from Cheers and all that to be Beast. But I thought they did a pretty good job of it, and that shows that movie is aged. So the technology they used to make Kelsey Grammer Beast is certainly far more advanced, and creating a Zeb character using that same sort of thing I would think should be quite doable. Yeah. So will they execute it well in live action? Will we
Well, let's
see
hope he's taller than Hera and Sabine, because judging by the fifth brother, he could just be 5'1".
I knew it. I knew it, Meg. Oh my goodness. So let me see. We got some other comments here. I'm letting that go if you couldn't tell. I'm just gonna pass right by it. I get that these animated the live action renderings of the animated characters is a bit of a point of contention with folks. And let me see. Oh yeah, Seth. So I remember rumors where they started animating the Rebel successor, but then Dave decided to do it in live action. I do remember that. Where's
Let's hope
Seth's?
that's a good sign, and not a bad one.
Yeah, exactly. Seth's the second part. If true, it'd be cool if they used what they already had as concept art. Well, at least the story, right? If you're going to drop the story from animation and move it over, at least use, what was already kind of written there. Yeah, Grogu won't be happy if Din kicks a bucket. True. Let's see. Yeah. Seth says
Hey,
he's
Jason.
nervous about Ezra's casting. Now Mina is out of the picture.
I agree. I had like Mena Massoud set in my mind as the guy.
Yeah, but there's so many questions. I'm really, really hopeful that Celebration is going to answer a lot of this for us, because at this point we're really more questions than answers. And I think that some of the excitement, I've seen some comments lately, and even a friend of mine commented that his excitement for Kenobi is pretty low, and he didn't really know why. Well, I think maybe because they've been holding back on a lot of it. It's coming out, right? The amount of promotional material is increasing. We're building up. We've got 2 weeks from today for the debut of Kenobi. We're going to get 2 episodes right off the bat. We get the 3rd episode less than a week later. We'll be halfway into the series within a week, and I think there'll be plenty of excitement at that point. But hopefully,
I'll be completely honest with you. I don't think you can change the minds of people who didn't like the leaks. I've seen a lot of people who love the leaks and think they're great, and they're trying to convince the other people that it's not going to be whatever or whatever. It might just be, but it doesn't mean it's a bad story. I think the story of the series is self-contained and really poetic in terms of Kenobi before and after. And if you can appreciate that for what it is, with a little bit of fan service sprinkled in, then you'll absolutely love the show. But I don't think you can convince people who are going in with skepticism and enormous expectations to win, for Disney to win them over. I don't think you can convince them, because I don't think they're going to like the series. And that's just being completely honest.
I will say that there are people with a predisposition to dislike it for reasons outside of Star Wars. Because they're more involved in what we were talking about earlier than they are about the actual content. And for me, and we brought this up on Discord yesterday. We were having a chat with Jason and yourself and me and Mark. The movie 23, where everywhere he turns, he sees the number 23. He can contrive it out of all kinds of different things, street signs and addresses and any number of things. He can read a page in a book and it would add up to 23. That's 23 started jumping out at him everywhere he turned, everywhere he looked. And I use that as an illustration that there are people involved in the debate over content in different franchises, Star Wars being among them, that see this battle going on, this ideology battle, a real world kind of stuff, left and right, Republican, Democrat, conservatives, progressives, you name it. They see that everywhere they turn. And it doesn't matter what you do, it's always going to add up to 23. For these people, it doesn't matter. And so,
but you know, the majority of fans are just normal people.
Right.
They don't really care about the politics, and most Star Wars fans aren't necessarily in the YouTube comments watching every update or every trailer. They're just average people from all walks of life with all kinds of views. They'll form their own opinions on the show,
Exactly.
as I think Ducky pointed out in the comments. But what I'm saying is, I think if you, as you pointed out with the example of 23, if you're going in with this preconceived notion, you're going to see all the things you thought you'd hate about the show without letting yourself actually appreciate the story for what it is.
Agreed. And I think a lot of people, unfortunately, are influenced by people who have this agenda, and their thoughts and their opinions are shaped, unfortunately, by some bad actors. And I agree with you. The vast majority of people could care less. They're here to watch a Star Wars show, and they watch it, they enjoy it, and they share what they like and what they didn't like with their friends, and they move on, and that's it. But some of these folks that are seeing 23 everywhere they look are creating tons of content that tear apart and break down things, and then they contribute to shaping other people's opinion and kind of molding it. And I don't think necessarily a beneficial way. So
I definitely see that perspective. I think, as Jason said a few comments up, he doubts the sincerity of most of these haters. And that's another point. How come all of these people who are putting out hate videos about the show, they claim to not be invested after The Last Jedi? Why are they still doing this? It's just for financial purposes, probably. But deep within, I think a lot of them do still care. As much as they say they don't, they're still going to watch the series.
yeah, I agree. And that's why we sort of started with this question of are you enjoying yourself? Are you enjoying making Star Wars content, talking about Star Wars content? And I am loving it. I'm loving having the conversations, but I'm not. I have a pretty good relationship with Star Wars right now. And let me put it this: a Magic Maker and I had a discussion off air yesterday after the show that sometimes folks just need to maybe take a break from Star Wars and realize it's in a place right now that's not comfortable with you. That happened to me and a Magic Maker with the prequels. Like coming out of the prequels, I wasn't in a really good relationship. So a good 10 years of my life, I didn't really spend a lot of time with Star Wars. Of course, there wasn't a lot of Star Wars to consume as far as like movies or anything like that. But I didn't read books, comics. I didn't spend time with Star Wars for a long time. The prequels put me in a bad place. And I would say the same for some folks today who have maybe a bad relationship with Star Wars through the sequels or whatever. Maybe you just need to take a break and not just force yourself to create content out of a place that doesn't feel sincere or out of a place of enjoyment, you know?
Maybe. I don't think this is a simple answer because Lucasfilm don't do much to avoid this situation.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I don't think they're doing a good job at all.
And I don't think I don't think the right thing to do is just to say, these fans are not Star Wars fans, or just go away from the franchise if they are genuinely fans. Because there's a difference between not liking current Star Wars and being a dick. You can completely validly dislike what Disney is putting out Star Wars content-wise without having these opinions that have nothing to do with Star Wars, but are completely political.
Yes. Yes. Well said. That's sort of what I've been trying to say, but you did a great job. I'll just second that. Let's see. There's some other stories I want to get to here. There's a lot of fun things to get to, and let me see if I can get caught up with the chat. Bear, the Beskar Boner, episode 7, The Girth Awakens. You're welcome for that.
Santa is jealous of everyone's girth.
Oh my goodness. Jason's not wrong here either. The folks at Lucasfilm like the confirmation bias they get when fans act like idiots. That's true too, right? Like when you see some people who are opposed to your opinions of things, who are off the deep end, who maybe don't have sincere or sincere is maybe not the right word, pure motives behind their opinions, you could discount them. You could just say, well, those are idiots. The people that agree with me are the smart people. The people who disagree are idiots. So you just discount them and you don't try to really understand what's behind it. And that's been on both sides of this fandom as well. We've seen plenty of people who love the sequels take pot shots at people who dislike the sequels, and people who dislike the sequels take pot shots at people who like them. So nobody's, I won't say nobody. There are people on both sides who are not innocent there, right? Who are guilty.
I agree. I get really frustrated with some of the people who defend the sequels,
Yeah.
but like really violently. They'll like
Right.
literally come at you if you don't like them
Yeah.
or say anything about them. And they'll say stuff like, just read Legends. It's like, that's not the point.
Right? Well, and Gannon here saying biggest gripes with rewriting stuff they claim was canon. Now it's in a weird position. How can you trust anything going forward? That's a point as well. People who have read comics or books, and then you see something played out in Bad Batch or The Mandalorian or Boba Fett that challenge that in some way, that aren't necessarily consistent in every way, and you're wondering, okay, so what did happen there? What am I supposed to believe? How am I supposed to carry this story forward if I don't understand it? And I think these are good conversations to have. I thought Star Wars Explained did a good job. Alex did a great job of explaining that sometimes people don't recount stories the same way. They view the same thing, but they don't retell the story the same way. And some of the details that are lost in one person's telling might be different in some of the details in another person's telling. But the overall story is the same. So at the macro level, the story still follows the same line. At the micro level, what color lightsaber they had may not be the same. And that doesn't necessarily break canon. It's just understanding that the retelling of a story isn't necessarily the same, and that this happens in a galaxy that long ago. This is not like current events. Things are unfolding in a story. These are retellings of a story that happened a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. And maybe you take a little bit more leeway with those kind of things and accept it for what it is. Let's move on. Bespin had some articles. First of all, this Andor bit. Death Troopers and Mud Troopers in Andor.
Yes.
That's cool. Really the first time we've seen Mud Troopers since Solo.
Absolutely.
Pretty cool. Not, and as we said yesterday, not that Andor is going to tie into Solo, but I think there will be some crossover kind of things. Mud Troopers being one of them. We've seen Death Troopers before. Getting to see them again, it's just kind of fun to see these figures, these characters, these armies consistently used throughout the different stories. I think it's fun.
See, I'm in two minds about this because if Crosshair stays with the Empire, I hope we get to hear his voice as one of the Death Troopers, because he's part of one of the first Imperial elite squads.
Oh yeah.
But at the same time, I kind of hope he has a redemption arc, but who knows?
Although that's the fun part about Bad Batch, and again, I'm looking forward to hearing more about season 2. Bad Batch has the potential to be an absolutely fantastic show. And I enjoyed season 1, very much looking forward to season 2. And as you said, what's going to happen with Crosshair? What's going to happen with all these folks? I don't necessarily know. Yeah.
They have AZ now, don't they?
They have what?
AZ, the droid.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Sorry, it triggered Siri.
Could you try again?
Fuck off. Sorry. I said AZ and Siri activated.
Siri's interrupting our discussion. Yeah, you're like, go away. Jedi Fallen Order is titled Star Wars Jedi Survivor. They left out part of the title here, though.
A Yaddle story.
A Yaddle story. That's exactly. I watched your video this morning, and the one thing I learned is that it's going to actually be called Star Wars Jedi Survivor, a Yaddle story. That's
All I said is that I hope we do see her in this game. because she was mentioned in the first one.
Right. I just know your passion and love for Yaddle, and
I
it
do.
it was fun to add that. And after watching your video, I was like, okay, I'm gonna have fun and and play with that. I think it's fun to see Star Wars Jedi Survivor. It certainly will be the continuation of Cal Kestis' story, right? I would expect.
It will.
And then we saw a release date. Is again, our folks at Bestman Bulletin have shared February or March next year, so less than a year away from getting Jedi Fallen Order 2. That's pretty cool.
Very cool.
Great news for the gaming fans. And then the rest of the rest of these tabs are all just fun. Well, at least I hope they're fun, because there's going to be some stuff that triggers some people. But we'll have fun talking
Santa,
about
before you click on anything, did you review your internet history and check the tabs were the ones you intended?
it. I
I'm
did.
just looking out for your monetization.
My internet history is clean. I'm not worried about it.
Because when I came on the stream, Santa was jingling his bells.
No, Meg. Lies, deceit. Not true.
Yeah, Jedi Mike, it's going to be the second Jedi Fallen Order. What's it called? Jedi Survivor. It's gonna come out in February or March, is what they're saying. But that's just when they're going to delay it further another year.
Exactly. Meg worried about Santa's monetization? Never.
Sure, I think one of the first things I said on this stream was that you were going to rock out with your
Right.
socks out.
That's not what you said, but yes, thank you for that. Every day, more lies. Oh, you guys are cracking me up. I see you, Novak. I see you. I saw this come up in my stories. You guys, look, you've activated Trinity. This is the kind of humor that Trinity enjoys. Thank you for being
Activated Trinity. You make it sound like it's a perk in a game.
Exactly. I love Trinity. He's a great guy. Star Wars, this came up, Screen Rant. It's not necessarily a great source of anything, but they bring up a fun topic from an old comic. And it says there's been controversy over who shot first, Han or Greedo. My opinion is Greedo didn't even shoot. He's dead. But what's your take on the Han Greedo?
Han shot first.
There you go. Han shot first. The comic goes back to Greedo bought his blaster got damaged, so he bought a new one from Jawas, and the Jawas sold him a bad blaster, and so that it didn't fire when he as quickly as he would have, and it wasn't reliably focused. Right? It wasn't.
He should have spoken to his doctor if he had a blaster dysfunction. But that picture of the Gamorrean is giving me PTSD because I can't remember when it was. It was like 2 years ago when Mando came out, Mando season 2, and I was making a video where I talked about Gamorreans and the sequence of words, because I was looking for a Gamorrean picture from Return of the Jedi, a very specific one. I don't remember the exact wording, but I clearly did not word it correctly. And it's that rule of the internet that if it exists, there's a pornographic version. And I saw a Gamorrean picture I never want to see again.
Oh, no. So what you're telling people, be careful what search terms you use when searching for Gamorreans.
Yes, exactly.
Or you might also have an image burned into your brain that you will never be able to clear.
No.
I gotcha. So
I didn't realize how chunky they... Anyway.
Please do not expand on that. So the explanation in the comic was that he had a bad blaster, and that's why his shot went off to the side when he was standing so close to Han. How could, if you are this renowned bounty hunter and you were hired by Jabba the Hutt to go get this treasured bounty, Han Solo, why would you miss? Right? Are you that bad of a bounty hunter? And there's, why is your aim so bad? Well, the aim is so bad because those Jawas sold him a bad blaster. It's all the Jawas' fault. There you have it. Breaking news.
Most of the problems in Star Wars are because Jawas did it.
Blame the Jawas. And speaking of Greedo and Han Solo, there's another comic coming out, and actually it's on StarWars.com. You meet Han Solo's father in this Solo and Chewbacca #2. This is an article that posted on Wednesday. You see Han and Greedo there, but they give you a good bit of the story in here. You see Han sitting on the dock here, talking to his dad. His dad's telling him what he does for a living. He makes these ships. Be careful. I don't want you to grow up and be a ship builder. Go do something else with your life. Be a pilot. He says, you're meant to fly. Then it cuts to Corellia now, and he's having a fight with his dad. So he punches his dad. They have this little argument. And then Han asks him, hey, you got some stuff I can borrow? I need a plasma cutter and maybe some other stuff. So you go back to this cutaway, and then look who shows up. Greedo. He says, remind me. Greedo asks Han, are we here for sentiment or to do a job? So you see in this comic that Greedo and Han have a history. They work together. Weren't exactly pals, weren't exactly buddies, but they do have a working history. Interesting. And so that's part of it. But really the lead of the story is you get to meet Han's dad. What do you take from this? What do you think?
I mean, only the British people in the audience will understand this, but him and his dad should go to Jeremy Kyle, which I believe in America is called Jerry Springer.
Oh, Jerry Springer. Yes. Yeah. So there's a little family drama that needs worked out, is what you're saying.
And there are so many puns you can make with the word solo.
Well, I know that's a bit of controversy. First of all, I didn't necessarily like in Solo how he got his last name. It was sort of stupid, but it is what it is.
Traveling alone.
Yeah. You're traveling alone. Your name's Han. Well, now you're Han Solo. Oh, great.
You know what's really cringe? The Lucasfilm executives probably thought that was so clever. You just know they were high-fiving themselves with iced lattes and pencils behind their ears.
It was on
I'm
the
thinking
whiteboard.
of J.J. Abrams, actually.
They're trying to work out what's Han's last name. They're doing a mind mapping on the whiteboard, and they're just throwing different terms out there. And somebody said he's traveling alone. Oh, circle that one. Oh my goodness!
I'm surprised not more people complain about that compared to Luke in the sequels. I feel like that was a worse character assassination.
Yeah. I don't know about character assassination, but the interesting thing with this, and it kind of goes to where you're talking about with the sequels. Han grew up. Apparently, his dad was a shipbuilder. A bit of a lush, right? You kind of get that impression.
Did you say he was a shipbuilder?
I
or
did.
He was a
no.
Oh. I thought you meant he was a bad builder.
No. He worked at it. No, it still doesn't work out. Anytime I say that word, you're going to use it. So, but he tells Han he wants him to fly him. Apparently, his dad was not involved in his life. He grew up with this resentment over his dad, and so much so that when he meets him again, he says, "Well, it's great to see you again, Dad." Whack. Right. That's your first response to seeing your dad because your dad was not part of your life. And then
that's a bit of an odd level of testosterone.
Well, and it's a bit of aggression and pent up anger over your dad not being involved, right?
The first response is a bit too much. You would kind of just stand there, stare at him, take it all in, and be like, "Oh, it's this dick bag," but you wouldn't just twat him.
Well, yeah, like I said, a lot of testosterone going there. But what does that reflect on his relationship with his son later in life? A lot of times you end up with people who are raised a certain way, raised their kids a certain way. If you were raised in a way that you have you hold a bit of a resentment to, would you then raise your kid in a way that they would have that same resentment? And we see Kylo or Ben tell Ray, like, "Oh, you think he's a dad figure, do you? Well, it ain't all that great, is it?" That's essentially what Ben tells Ray regarding Han Solo, right? Like, you've got this sentiment that he's a great guy, not so fast. Is that Ben being just an over moody kid, or is it that Han raised his son in a way similar to his dad raised him?
You know what I realized? Disney does this with the wrong characters. So I really do like the comics, Crimson Reign, War of the Bounty Hunters, even some of these ones, the Star Wars the numbered ones.
Yeah.
But I don't like the treatment of the original trilogy cast of characters. Like, I didn't need to know this much about Han Solo, and yet they keep adding to his story, and that kind of ruins it for me.
Well, and that's a point that X-Wing was making this week on.
Like, why don't they do a Grogu backstory comic?
Right. Something that people are really interested in, and you can fill it out without necessarily breaking anything. And when you're backfilling Solo this way, Han Solo. Now, I think this comic raises some problems. I look at risk of my shield dollars. Seeing that he was raised by a guy he had some resentment from, and then his son has the same feeling towards him that he had towards his dad, is not necessarily learning from the resentment you had growing up. To me, that's not something you carry forward. I really hated my dad was such a jerk, so I'm going to raise my kid and be the same jerk to him. How's that make sense?
It doesn't.
Yeah. So I can understand the outrage. I don't get as offended by it. I'm just like, I don't care for that, and I move on. Right? I'm not going to dwell on it. I'm not going to make rage videos on it. But look for X-Wing to make a video on it next week. No, I kid. I tease because I love X-Wing, but this will make him all kinds of mad. So I see Matt Risman there. Make sure X-Wing gets the news. We need to see X-Wing kind of take out some rage on that. So speaking of that, and how much people love a lot of the new things, we get the new cover for Princess and the Scoundrel and the Halcyon Cruiser right back there. There's already been a good talk about the Halcyon Cruiser and how people are upset about all that kind of nonsense. But here you get the Halcyon Cruiser right there on the cover. There's a better picture down here where you can see some stormtroopers. You got this like crystal palace of some sort. And what I would presume is Andor, right? Right there. Some controversy over this book is what I'm going to say. There's controversy over this book, mainly because of this Halcyon Cruiser, and there's a preceding Legends book about them being married. Right?
There is.
Which leads us to this story, which I don't know if you've seen yet. This is...
Oh, no.
Yeah. Brace yourselves. Brace yourselves.
Padme and Anakin went onto the Halcyon ship.
Indeed they did. In Halcyon Legacy number 3.
When was there even time to do that?
Well, you got to read it, don't you? But it's in here. You can see Padme, Anakin there. There's the Halcyon Cruiser. And here they are on their...
What the fuck is up with Anakin's face?
It gets better. It gets better. You've got... I mean, look at Padme's lips. She's had a couple of Botox injections there or something, right?
Padme.
You get this comic excerpt. Look at this. You like that? Anakin. But look, he's a little ripped.
Oh my god.
And he's got this. This we saw this in the Mandalorian. The belt that kind of has the link between them, so you can pugil fight against each other.
Looking at this, I feel like I should apologize to all of the Reylos I've called odd, because this is worse.
They have a little fight. Padme beats him. He falls down, and then here they are. They get a little puffer pig from. Speaking of rebels.
Oh yeah, that was in the Lando episode.
Yeah, here they're hanging out in the Halcyon.
And you know what's convenient? You can actually buy a puffer pig at Disney Galaxy's Edge.
Martin will be doing that when he's going to stay with. He's going to stay at the Halcyon cruiser, and you get this bad guy in here. So again, now you got Padme and Anakin on the Halcyon. You got Luke and Leia on the Halcyon.
Vanessa, I will tell you, my jaw was on the floor, but not in a good way.
Not in a good way. Oh, so this has kind of flown under the radar of the Rage videos, but maybe
they missed a really interesting plot point. When the puffer pig expands in Padme's hand, Anakin should have said, "I can do that too." I'll take you to the candy shop. Sorry.
Well, this is what I like, right? Like they're presumably on some sort of vacation or something together. I don't know. I didn't read the full context of it, but this is something about that's against the rules. She says so much for Jedi being honorable. They have a little fight and they fall down. What do you want to do next? What do you suppose on a vacation on a cruise liner they would do next? Well, let's go to check out the puffer pigs.
I mean, I can't.
My day is made. I broke Meg. Look at that. That's the first time that's happened.
It's pure cringe.
So line up
and
by your...
That...
by your issue of Halcyon number 3.
They're connected via those electric things like Teletubbies.
Right. Well, it's like in Mandalorian, right? Oh my goodness, this is great. This is it's beautiful. It's I can't wait to read it. Oh, that was fun. You want to do something else fun? Let's. I want to do this little quiz together. If you don't mind.
Quiz.
This will be fun. And so I'm going to send you the link here because I don't know what character it'll come. You will get on your. I'll send it there, and we can answer these together, and we'll find out who your mom. Which Star Wars character is most like your mom, right? So,
I feel like you should have introduced the topic first, because I bet half of our audience thought you just brought my mum into the conversation randomly.
So this is from Mother's Day last weekend here in the United States. I know your Mother's Day was like a month ago, but
yes.
This from last Mother's Day, they had, which Star Wars character would be like your mom? And of course, they've got the picture of the frog lady there. But I thought it would be fun to do this together and find out how this quiz would come out for each of us as we go through here. So it'd be a fun thing to do together. And so the first question, what does your mom do when you misbehave? And so the answer is spend your allowance. She scares you. She shows patience. She gives you a lecture. She yells. She lets you know who's boss, or she grounds you. What would your mother have done or do when you misbehave?
There's a chance my mum might watch this because she follows my YouTube channel and she's aware of we do the stream. So I've got to be generous.
Okay.
What does my mum do when I miss? I guess yell.
She would yell at you. Okay, my mom would give me a lecture. It would be long and miserable. Make me never want to do it again because I don't want to have to endure another lecture. Number two, how does your mom dress? Lots of metallics. She likes shiny things, right? She's cold, fashionable, ready for anything, mysterious, stylish yet functional.
Santa, I've heard your mum's ready for anything. That sounded better in my head.
I would hope. I would hope.
Stylish yet functional.
Your mom's stylish yet functional. I would say my mom was more, as you said, ready for anything.
See, I was right.
What's your mom's favorite sport? Chess, swimming, auto racing, basketball, spelling bee, demolition derby, or boat racing? It's probably not even on the list. But
I'd say swimming.
Yeah, I'm going with swimming as well. What type of car does your mom drive? Something that can stay hidden? So, something with lots of trunk space? She doesn't really drive. Something with room for all her friends? Something with lots of leg room? Something expensive or something fast?
What would you consider a Range Rover?
A Range Rover. Oh, that's expensive.
Okay, we'll do the expensive one.
Okay. I would say something with lots of trunk space for my mom. What's your mom's pet peeve? Rudeness, misuse of the English language, bravado, whining, chaos, heights, or littering.
I mean, my mum's French, so rudeness.
Rudeness. That's my mom too. She wouldn't have it. She would not have it. Which food would your mom prefer? Something salty? Jambalaya. Venison. Salmon with fennel and whatever that word is. Fricassee? I don't know. Ramen noodles, a smoothie, or cheesecake.
I only understand two of those.
Venison is deer meat.
That was
right?
That was one of the ones I understood.
Jambalaya is like a Creole, like southern U.S. Louisiana French bayou kind of food.
Martin's making me laugh in the chat.
So of the choices, what are you picking?
I'm gonna go with probably salmon.
Salmon.
It's one of those foods I think she likes.
I'm gonna go ramen noodles with my mom. Describe your mom in one word. Intimidating. Meg's mom. What's she gonna say? Intimidating, wise, rebellious, level-headed, artistic, savvy, or loyal?
It depends who's asking.
You describe your mom. Oh, somebody's got it. So Meg, describe your mom in one word. I'm asking.
Yeah, probably intimidating.
Intimidating. I'm going to say loyal. 8, you're in danger. What does your mom do? Anything to save me. She gets flustered, but does what she can. She gets a team together to solve the problem, takes charge and leads a rescue effort. She helps me. If it doesn't lead to bigger problems, she negotiates a solution or she prepares to defend me.
Oh.
Yeah.
I feel like the first and the last one are very similar.
They are, but one's preparing. One is just jump right into action. The other's preparing.
I would say preparing.
Yeah, that's my mom. I'm going to say my mom would just jump into action. Like she didn't think it through. I'll go that way. Where would your mom like to vacation when she needs to relax? In the desert? On a farm? Near a lake? Somewhere quiet? Somewhere with a spa? Someone cultured? Someplace cultured, not someone.
Wait a minute, Santa, I mean this with like all due respect. But how old is your mum?
My mom passed.
Oh, I'm
Years
sorry.
ago. Yeah, my mom passed a couple of years ago. But yeah.
Is your father is still alive though?
Yeah. My dad. He lives across the road. I talk to him frequently. Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah. But my mom passed at 69, just short of her 70th birthday. just a couple weeks before her 70th birthday. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. It's okay. So where would your mom like to vacation, Meg?
Probably somewhere with a spa.
My mom would be in the woods. So there you go. Number 10. This is 10 out of 10. What's your mom's favorite type of movie?
Probably romance.
Romance. Action, adventure, animation, romance, nature documentaries, or political thriller. My mom would have been more of an animation type, I would say. And so my mom is C-3PO.
Mine is Wrecker from The Bad Batch.
You're kidding me. Wrecker from The Bad Batch. That's hilarious. So there you go. That was our quiz. There's two other bits of news here that are on StarWars.com. Just fun things. Make it quick. I know you are doing an Attack of the Clones documentary type thing. You're working on that as we come up on the anniversary on the 16th. They mentioned it's coming up on Monday is the 20th anniversary, May 16th. And they put 4 ways that Attack the Clones helped change filmmaking. And these just at a high level. First, digital cameras. I remember that. Now that's become kind of standard. The second was cast and crew could view instantaneous results live on set. I thought this ties in directly to what we're seeing with the volume, because they still had to work with like blue screens, green screens. They couldn't see what was happening like as they were acting. It makes it kind of tough, but they could see the results instantaneously. They didn't have to do a lot of work on film in post-production to put those scenes in. So they could do reshoots far more easy. Same with the volume now with the LED screens. The third one they have in here, enabled more freedom and flexibility for visual effects. And then lastly, they had a hard drive to movie screen distribution. Rather than putting these big reels in crates and shipping them around the world, they could do it digitally through these hard drives. And then there's 20 quotes from Attack of the Clones. These are great. Many of them we already know. These are fantastic. We're keepers of the peace, not soldiers. Mace Windu. Interestingly, they were soldiers more than keepers of the peace. 2, you seem a little on edge. Number 3, why do I get the feeling you're going to be the death of me? There's a little meta line in there, right? Anakin becomes the death of Obi-Wan. We know, of course, from A New Hope. Number 4, I don't want to sell you death sticks. That was a cringe line. Like, again, George Lucas is known for writing lines that nobody wants to say. Death sticks. Like, come on. You couldn't come up with a better term for that. I mean, an anti-smoking campaign. I'm fine with that. But really? Death sticks? 5, mentors have a way of seeing our faults more than we would like. It's the only way we grow. It's not a line I remember, clearly as a memorial, but I guess if we're coming up with 20, it's a good one. 6, compassion, which I would define as unconditional love, is central to a Jedi's life. So you might say we are encouraged to love. Now this is a line that has gotten a good bit of attention since the prequels, where a lot of people said, well, one of the flaws with the Jedi Order is that they didn't allow them to have these relationships. They couldn't marry. They couldn't express their love to a spouse. And this line kind of is a direct response to that, isn't it?
Pretty much.
Truly wonderful the mind of a child is, Yoda. This is great. It kind of encapsulates Lucas writing these for 10-year-olds. Of course, much more than just 10-year-olds, but there you have it. And everybody's favorite. I don't like sand. It's coarse and rough and irritating. and it gets everywhere. Of course, this goes on. There's 20 of them. These are fantastic. So you can find out on StarWars.com as we come up on Attack of the Clones 20th anniversary. Meg, your project, I know you've been working on it for quite some time, putting a lot of effort into it. How close are you to having that ready for distribution?
Unfortunately, not very close.
So it's going to be a good amount of work yet to do.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm very much looking forward to it, and want to make sure folks are looking for that. It's a project that you've been planning for months and months. It's something you put a lot of work into, and I appreciate that you're doing that. So that's fantastic. Anything else that for the greater good? We do have the Mike Porter dad joke. It is a Star Wars line, so it's a good one. But anything else? Oh, we have two things that we owe the audience. One is next week we will not be able to do this show together.
This is it, guys. This is the last one.
It's the last one for at least a couple weeks. I know you've got some scheduling conflict next week. I am likewise going to be out next week, and then the following week you're on vacation, yeah, or
Yes.
holiday, as you like to say. You'll be on holiday, and I will be again traveling on that day. So don't look for you won't see us for at least the next 2 weeks. Perhaps after that we'll be able to get back on schedule. But as Martin Keeler said, did I miss Meg's joke? You know, you promised him a joke at the end.
It's very inappropriate. I'll let
Of
Santa
course.
decide if he wants to hear it.
Of course, I do not. I do not. This never stopped you in the past. But you know, you sort of promised them. You promised it at the end. Well, before or after the Mike Porter dad joke is the question.
We'll do it after the Mike Porter dad joke.
Okay, after the Mike Porter dad joke. So the Mike Porter dad joke, we have, what was one of the Jedi Council's favorite sandwiches? Oh, a Padme melt. But they never ate melts because they were too grievous.
Oh, gosh.
So how about that for an Attack of the Clones tie-in?
It's
Well
a
done,
very
Mike Porter.
insidious joke.
Very good. Very good. Hey, Star Wars Mania is working on a fan film. Hey, let us know when you get that. A Magic Maker and I do fan film reviews on Thursdays. So I thought Mike Porter's dad joke today. We didn't even plan that together with Mike, but well done, Mike Porter. Well done. So Meg, you have your inappropriate joke of the day.
I
Go
feel
for it.
like it's a bit too inappropriate.
Okay, it's over the line.
We'll let the audience decide.
Oh, don't let them decide. They make poor decisions. my audience makes bad decisions, and Martin Keeler is in the chat.
Oh yeah, Santa, have you added the Kathleen Kennedy thongs to your merch store yet?
No, no. And I need to know, when are you doing your Zuvium tour?
That's a very good question.
It is a very good question.
I feel like it's become a thing.
It has become a thing. It it needs to happen. You're depriving yourself of a great amount of joy if you would catch that. So encourage you to see that. Go ahead, shoot the inappropriate joke of the week, and then we'll have 2 weeks to recover.
Okay, so I was eating grapes when the intro music on your stream came on, and it suddenly cut to Santa, and I still had a grape in my mouth, and I almost choked. So I was going to say, because I almost choked on a grape, speaking to Santa, does Mrs. Claus choke on Santa's grapes when she's trying to get a word in edgeways?
There you have it, friends. You asked for it. And Daryl, my life is yeah. See, we've got folks who make plenty of bad decisions in the chat. Thank you. People enjoyed your joke, Meg. Thank you for that. And again, as always, thank you, my friend. I absolutely cherish you. You're fantastic for this community and a fantastic friend. I hope that you have a great weekend. I know that you're planning to kind of work through the weekend, but I hope that you have an enjoyable, wonderful weekend, my friend.
Thank you, Santa. You too. I'm going to miss this stream. I'm going to miss you guys.
I will miss you as well. We'll be in touch on Discord, I'm sure. But I always have a great time hanging out with you on Friday afternoon. So you guys, there's Novak right there, right? Great joke, Meg. Now Santa's going to have to whine about it. Very good. Well, thank you all for being here. Really appreciate your support. Please do the social media stuff, right? Do the liking and the sharing and the subscribing and the notifications, all that great stuff. And Yaddy literally spilled her drink. Look what you did. Thank you all. And until next time, my friends, may the force be with you. And Merry Christmas. Bye-bye.
Talking through the news from a galaxy far away. Toys and book reviews, positivity all the way. Come and join the fun, subscribe and like away. Movie news and show reviews, it's like Christmas every day. Oh, Star Wars Santa, Star Wars Santa, the Star Wars Santa show. Oh, what fun it is to chat on the Star Wars Santa show. Oh, Star Wars Santa, Star Wars Santa, the Star Wars Santa show. Oh, what fun it is to chat on the Star Wars Santa show. Ho, 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 ho. Hot dang, ladies and gentlemen, you're in for a treat tonight on the Star Wars Santa show. He can feel your presence